In this video, I want to show you how to blend photos together. I know right now we're working on some surreal type art where you guys are trying to take pictures and cut them out and put them together, but they kind of look fake. They just don't blend together. So I just wanted to show you some tricks that you can try on that project to help you blend your photos together better. So I have this picture of this lizard here, and I want to try and blend this dinosaur face on this lizard. So I've copied that. I have the background cut out, but if you'll notice, if I just cut the picture out and I put it on the lizard, it just obviously it looks really bad. It doesn't look like it's blended at all. So I'm going to try to blend it together a little bit more, and I want to show you some tricks that you can use to do that. So right now I'm just kind of lining up the neck and jaw over here of the dinosaur head to the lizard. And that looks fine like this. So the next thing I'll do is put a layer mask over the dinosaur head. So I'm going to click on my layer and click layer mask, and I'm going to go over here and get a soft brush and just get a soft brush and just start painting over that so it's kind of blending in a little bit better. So what you want to do when you're blending something is get a big brush and don't go right over top way here. Go out on the edge. So you're just hitting the very edge of it to blend it. So something like that is a pretty good blend. So obviously this still looks super fake because we have a green dinosaur and we have this brown looking lizard. So I want to show you how you can change the color. The other problem that we have is the lighting. We have a really bright bottom jaw here when actually the lizard picture here is being lit from above and it's shining down on the lizard's back and on the top of the log. So we need to change the lighting on this dinosaur head too. So I'm going to make a copy of this. So I'm going to click on my dinosaur head and do Control J. And what I'm going to do on this one here is Control U, which is hue and saturation. All these adjustments that I'm going to be making, they're destructive edits, but they're under the image adjustments. We're going to use several of these adjustments here, but I'm going to call them out by the quick key. So I'm going to do hue and saturation, Control U, and I'm going to click colorize, and you'll see that the dinosaur head is green and the lizard is kind of this yellow brown. So I'm going to click colorize, and I'm going to desaturate it, and I'm going to pull in a little bit more of a yellowy color. Not too red. Something like that is fairly close. I might tweak that some more later. But when I did that, I got rid of all the red that was in the teeth and the eye. So I'm going to go back over to this top layer, click on my layer mask, and we're going to erase out the teeth so that they don't have the color change. So we can still keep that red inside the dinosaur's mouth and make the teeth not look like they got colorized too. And then maybe in the eyeball too, put that color eye back like that. Alright, so the next thing I'll probably do is I want to darken the photo or darken the head a little bit. So I'm going to do Control L, which is levels, and try to just give it a little more contrast. And maybe I'll do that to the background photo. Just make it contrast so it has kind of equal parts contrast. It looks a little more dramatic that way. And the next thing I want to do is change the lighting on this because the dinosaur head has different lighting. So I really want to start off by darkening his jawline here. So I'm going to go over to these tools here. There's the dodge tool, which makes things lighter, and burn makes things darker. I always remember the two by burn is kind of like toast. If you burn your toast, it's darker. So I'm going to start off with the burn tool. When I have that selected, it gives me a brush, just like a lot of the other tools, and it tells me how strong the effect is going to be. So I have mine kind of in the middle. And then it tells me, is it going to darken my shadows? Is it going to darken my midtones or highlights? I'm going to start off with the midtones. So you notice when I brush over this, it's darkening that. So now we're getting more of a shadow under the neck. I'm going to do the shadows too. do those right along the edge. So that looks pretty good. Now I want to get some highlights on the top. So I'm going to get the other tool, which is the dodge tool. And I guess we can leave it on midtones. I have it a little bit less exposure on this. And go ahead and just click on the top because you have a light that's shining above. So it's lit totally different on the lizard picture than it was on the dinosaur. Maybe we'll get some highlights and pop those out a little bit. Not too much though. Alright, so you see that's starting to look a lot more realistic. So think about these kinds of things when you're trying to blend photos, because otherwise, notice how if I turn that layer off, that's what it looked like before. It obviously looked fake until I blended it in more. There's another way you can add some highlights and shadows. I don't think this picture needs it, but I'm going to show you how to do it in case your picture does. But if you make another layer and you put it on top of everything and you make that a clipping mask, that means anything you paint on that will only appear over here where you have the picture below it. So let's say I wanted to just paint some shadows on here. I can just take my brush and paint along there like that, and that will just show up there. Maybe I want to have highlights. Grab the color white, and it will only show up where I have the clipping mask. Alright, so that's another way you can blend photos. And then obviously I would probably have a shadow here. You have to think about the lighting on the ground too. So I would probably want to darken this log up. So think about that when you're making your art. I'll make another layer, put it over here. This one's a little trickier because I can't make a clipping mask of it the way that is unless I actually select this log. Maybe I'll do that. Whoops, I need to go on the layer that has the log. Click on the lizard layer and get the quick selection tool and grab this log. I don't need the whole thing because I'm just going to put a shadow on part of it. And I'm going to copy it so that I can have it out of its background. And if I could just press paste right now, but sometimes when you do paste, it puts it in a different position. So to paste it exactly where you want, you can go to Edit, Paste Special, Paste in Place. Now you'll see we have this layer of the log right exactly where it was. So now if I wanted to, once again, I could use those dodge and burn tools. Maybe I want to burn the highlights a little bit so they're darker. Could do something like that, or maybe again I would have a clipping mask, so I can take that extra layer there, create a clipping mask, and then it'll only show up on that log, and then I could maybe paint some black. Whoops, got to get the actual brush. Can paint some black along that edge. That's a bit harsh, but I can go back here and lower, put it on darken, and maybe lower the opacity a little bit. So it's not a perfect selection. I know when I zoom in, I can see that the quick select tool didn't really get that very good. So you could go and clean that up later. I don't want to make this video too long. I just want to show you, a few tricks that you can use to make your photos blend together instead of making them look like they're just cut out and stuck together.